Okay, I will show you in this video the simplest way to train the pocket pull at home. Alright? And if you don't know what the pocket pull is, it's the combination of isometric side pressure and elbow flexion. In which case you are doing this, producing a force vector to this shoulder, which is what you do at the table. Alright? Simplest way to train this. Here is the exercise at home. All you need is a box, some type of a box, or this kind of water thing, or even a plastic pocket. Alright? And what you do is you load it up with something heavy, the box in this case, and then let's pretend there is stuff in it. And you take it from the sides, from both sides, and you lift it up so that your hands are flat on the sides, like this, and hold it for time. And put it down. Alright? Why is this a pocket pull exercise? Because the heavy box tries to do this. It tries to open your elbow flexion, but because you are not lifting it from the bottom, but from the sides, you are also doing side pressure. You have to squeeze your hands together so that the box stays in your hands. So when you do this, just hold the box like this. You are doing side pressure by pressing the arms together, and elbow flexion statically. Alright? And if you want to emphasize the side pressure, you take a bucket, and instead of taking it like this, meaning you see that these plastic buckets, you see the profile is so that it gets wider at the top. So now it's easier to hold like this, because for this to slip like this, your hands a little bit need to widen. So if you want to make it harder for the side pressure, you lift it like this. Because now this slight cone shape in this is actually against you. Alright? So let's take a little load. For example, I have this. But again, you could just take a pack of rocks, alright, and fill it up. And let me find where I put it. Like this, okay. Here is a strap. I put it here on the bucket. Bada bing, bada boom. Put the bucket on the weight stack. And now you hold it from this position up. As you might see, I have to squeeze this bucket together so that it doesn't just slip out, Now I broke my bucket. Alright? Like you naturally will have to squeeze it. Alright? Again, demonstration. As you might see, I have to squeeze this, otherwise this will just happen. Like this. Obviously it's a broken bucket, but your bucket would be not broken. Alright? And now you are working elbow flexion statically and side pressure statically, which then means you are producing a force vector like this, which is what you will do on the table. And this is why people who work manual labor jobs where they carry heavy packages like this, day out and day out, they are starting from a higher level in arm wrestling than normal people. Because they have been doing this. This is a side press exercise. Like it's a pretty common thing when people handle heavy packages that they have inner elbow pain. Coincidence? No, it's not a coincidence. Because they use side pressure in their work. So you can mimic what they do with the pocket. Like, obviously it doesn't have to be a plastic pocket, it could be a metal pocket. So you cannot like destroy it with your side pressure. But you get my point. And obviously this could be also a wooden box. Like it could be like, let me show you. Metal pot. You can go to your mom or grandma and say, hey grandma, can I borrow your metal pot? And then you use it for arm wrestle training. Like try to lift it like this. And you fill the metal pot with water to make it harder. Or rocks, or sand, or whatever you have. Alright? And you could attach weights to these handles. And make it like this. And if you again want to make it harder, you can see that these metal pots are usually little bit again like this. So you turn it around, so it becomes harder. You have to apply even more side pressure to hold it, alright? And there is one more thing about this I want to explain to you. That if you also want to train this pocket pull and also riser, radial deviation, you grip this pocket, this package, not from the center like this, but you grip it from here. Now this package also tries to do this. So what you have going on in this movement is static elbow flexion, side pressure because you have to squeeze the hands together because this is staying in your hands only with friction. So you have to apply force this way. And because you're gripping it so like this and not from the middle but from here, it tries to also do this. Alright? So very simple isometric exercise you could do daily for arm wrestling training. You have just a box in somewhere where you come and hold it, put it down. Alright? Arm wrestling training. You're training the pocket pull. Alright? A pretty safe way to train it. Alright? There is no, every time it's the same angle. And you could also do curls with it. Dynamic curls. Now when you do curls with it, this is heavy box, let's pretend it. You are doing dynamic elbow flexion. And if you even curve it like, take it this grip, you have dynamic elbow flexion. And you're also maintaining a static riser so that this doesn't happen. And then on top of that, you have side pressure also activated all the time. Because you're holding it like this. Alright? And I show you another thing. Here is a very little trick. After you have asked your grandma to borrow the pot, alright? So now you have the pot here, which you use for arm wrestling training. If you wanna make the side pressure harder, you decrease the friction in your hands. Meaning you have to really squeeze it harder. And how you decrease friction? You go to your sister's room and ask a little bit drawing paper. Alright? Nobody suspect you anything. You have just a pot and a couple of papers. You're being a good boy, all right? So you take the drawing papers and you grab the pot so that you put the drawing papers against the pot. The drawing paper will slip very easily against iron. So you have to squeeze it really hard with the side pressure to be able to hold it. All right? Same applies if this would be a wooden box and you put the paper between the box and the hands. Like if this would be heavy, it would be very hard to like grip it. All right? So that's how you can vary how much side pressure and elbow flexion there is. All right? If you, for example, if you would have a box like this material has a high friction, all right? This would be very easy the friction in this is very high. So if you want to decrease the friction to increase the side pressure effort, you put something between the material and your hand. And you could also take two papers and then grip it. So now one of the papers grips to the surface of this box and one paper grips to your fingers, and now there is even less friction because there is just paper against paper. And now if let's pretend I have both hands like this, it would be really hard to hold this because this will just slide like this. All right? So this is the simplest way to train the pocket pull. And note that this is the whole isometric hold method you are doing. You are doing valid strength, isometric strength training here. You don't have to go to the gym to do this. You could do sets, 6 seconds, put it down, half a minute rest, 6 seconds, put it down, every day, couple of those. And your pocket pull will go up, up, up. And you don't need arm wrestling tapers, you don't need anything. You can put rocks here, sand here, you can go outside and just shovel mud here if you want. Alright? So those are a couple of things, simplest ways of training this pocket pull at home. Okay, one more thing I want to say about this, that I told you the methods of reducing the friction, which increases the side pressure. But you don't want to decrease the friction too much, because then it will require huge amount of side pressure even to lift light weights, which means that your elbow flexion is not loaded then that much, which you have to have your bicep activated with the side pressure, because the long head of the bicep attaches to the labrum and it stabilizes the shoulder joint during internal rotation, as well as applies stability to the elbow, by compressing the bones together. You don't want to decrease too much the friction, but in case you have some kind of thing where there is just way too much friction, you can use the method to reduce it. And another thing which I want to mention is that note here that what you are doing regarding the side pressure, in that you are doing tailed concentric movement. Tail concentric isometric. Let's pretend that you are lifting this. Meaning that it's failed concentric isometric. You are trying to do a concentric, but you can't because you cannot squeeze it like together. So what I'm saying here is that this way of training the side pressure, where you are doing a failed concentric, is immune to eccentrics. This movement it's impossible in this movement for this to happen. It's impossible in this movement to the side pressure to go to the end of range of motion accidentally, like it is in those cable movements, where you can then hurt yourself. This, you have always the same position. All right? So in this sense, it is safe, but you don't want to reduce the friction too much. Otherwise, the biceps are not that much activated, and you want to activate the biceps. All right? So those are a couple of points. So that this is pretty safe in that regard, because there is no, this cannot end up so that my side pressure would end up here, which would be the end of range of motion, because you're just doing this. And whenever you stop applying the force, this just drops. Your hands do not go apart. You know, they say they always in this position. All right, couple of things. All right.